Hey, what's up guys? JS Cards here coming at you with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and today we are going to go over my Mutant deck. When Mutants first came out, I got really excited to build them. They're TCG exclusive. Usually those are really good, like Cosmo and stuff like that. This deck is fun and it is powerful, especially if you go into their fusion monsters. However, I think this deck needs a little bit more support in order for it to become a tier 2 or tier 1.5 deck. Right now though, this is just a fun rogue option if you guys want to test it out and try to have some fun with it. I'm going to have some EDO Pro replays up on the channel with this deck. If it's not up already, I'm not sure of the timing of when both those videos will be up, but that way you guys will be able to see how this deck kind of functions. But like I said, I just feel like they need a little bit more in order to be a good deck. But you guys can let me know down below what you think of Mutants, and if you have any suggestions on a build or certain cards, definitely let me know. I'm willing to test this more and tweak it and try to make it as best as possible. Alright, so with our monsters, first off we have Mutant M05. When this card's normal or special summoned, you can add a mutant monster from your deck to your hand. After that, 3 copies of Myutant ST46. Same effect, except this one's actually probably a little bit better because instead of a monster, it lets you add a mutant spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Then for the larger mutant monsters, I play 2 copies of Mutant Beast and 1 copy of Arsenal, along with 1 copy of Mutant Mist. So you really don't play that many mutant monsters because they are all recyclable. You can get them back from the banished zone. Your spells and traps let you fuse if they're in your graveyard or banished, so you don't really need to run a whole lot of multiples, which is nice because you can just reuse them in different ways. So that allows us to play a variety of hand traps and support cards. Starting off with 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. Since you are banishing a lot, if you open this card, it's really good, especially because so many decks nowadays need the graveyard for their effects and stuff to go off. This just shuts down any cards going to the graveyard for 2 turns. Next up, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, just a great hand trap, and we have the Gamma package. This is also nice because they are psychics which go with the deck. So that's it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells. Alright, so starting off the spells, I play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. I will say right now you can easily cut this card. Actually, on my EDO Pro version of this deck, I ended up cutting it because I saw it way too much, but that could have been just the online RNG. I felt like I needed more spell or trap card removal, or maybe even more trap cards to be able to control the game better. But this card is also just really good because you can draw further into your deck, and a lot of your extra deck you run multiples of, so it's okay if you banish them away, but it can also hurt the deck. So this is kind of where I suggest you guys test this out for yourself. You could even play 2 copies. I considered cutting this down just because I didn't want to see it quite as much as I was in my hands, but that was mostly online play, so it could be different in real life. But if you don't have this card, you could easily put in Desires or even Duality. After that, I play 3 copies of Mutant Evolution Lab. This is their field spell. And then I play 2 copies of Mutant Fusion. Again, it's searchable, so you don't really need to run 3, but you could if you wanted. This is just their normal fusion card. For the last spell, I have the 1 Emergency Teleport. Just a great way to get out one of your lower psychic monsters. Alright, now for the trap cards. This is where like the control aspect of the deck comes in. We have 3 copies of Mutant Cry, which is my favorite trap card in the deck. So during the main phase, you can special summon a Mutant Fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling the fusion materials on it into the deck from among the cards that are on the field, graveyard, and or banished piles, which is really good. Plus this card lets you fuse on your opponent's turn, so a lot of the times if they have a problematic card that's annoying or I'm having an issue with it, I'll flip this up and go into my synthesis and pop the card. It's really good, really powerful. After that, 3 copies of Mutant Expansion. So you can take one level 4 or lower mutant monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. It also protects the larger mutant monsters. So if a level 8 or higher mutant monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. So not only does it search, but it also protects, which is really good. Next up, 3 copies of There Can Only Be One. This card is really good, however, I am considering cutting one of them, and that would be for another copy of Dogmatica Punishment. Right now I'm just playing the 2, but Dogmatica Punishment is great. Again, you want to pop cards and kind of control the field that way while you have your stronger mutant fusions out on the field. But There Can Only Be One can shut down so many decks, but it can also hurt this deck. So I'm just considering maybe playing 2 instead of 3. It is kind of one of those cards, again, that I see way too much, but that could just be the luck I have playing online and dealing with online decks. All right, then for the extra deck, 3 copies of Mutant Ultimus. This card is insane. I love the artwork a lot. So it's made up of 3 level 8 or higher mutant monsters. When an effect is activated, you can banish 1 mutant card from your hand, graveyard, or face up on the field of the same type, and then you can negate that effect. Also, if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can add up to 3 of your banished mutant cards, 1 of each type, from your banished zone back into your hand. Not only that, but it's a 3,500 attack monster, which is insane, which is also a great target for your Dogmatica Punishment if your opponent has a strong monster that you're having a hard time getting over. But then I play 3 copies of Mutant Synthesis. Honestly, I probably go into this one more than Ultimus. It is easier to make. The materials are only 2 mutant monsters with different attributes. But if this card's fusion summoned, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Also, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate this effect for Mutant Synthesis, where basically for the rest of this turn, Mutant Synthesis is not affected by cards of that type, a monster, spell, or trap. So again, just a really powerful monster, plus it's a 2,500 attack monster, which can be tough to get over. And then the last fusion would be triple copies of Elder Entity Entis. Just because you are playing Extravagance and on top of that you're playing Dogmatica Punishment, so I thought it'd be good to max out on these, especially if I do end up adding that 3rd copy of Dogmatica Punishment. Since we do have the Gammas, I don't go into it often, but I do have the 1 Omega. And then moving on to the Link monsters, I have the 1 Verte Anaconda because we have Mutant Fusion in the deck, the Nightmare Cerberus, and Nightmare Phoenix. And then for our boss Link monsters, I have the 1 Borolo Dragon and Boral Sword Dragon. Honestly, if you can get out Borolo Dragon, there's some times where your opponent really can't do anything or have an answer for it. So there you guys have it. That was my mutant deck profile. I would love to test this more, especially if you guys have any suggestions down in the comments, or if we see more support for this archetype in the future. Like I said, I really like the concept and I like their playstyle a lot. I just feel like they need a little... They could even use like 1 or 2 more cards to really take this deck to the next level. Since it is a TCG exclusive though, I'm sure we'll see more support, kind of like how we did for Cosmo. Like for 2 or 3 sets they got new support, and each time they got new cards, the deck just got stronger and stronger. So I really hope they do that with this deck because it is fun. I feel like it's just, you know, 1 card away from being like a full-blown competitive deck. Let me know what you guys think of this deck down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more. That really helps me out. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Stay tuned for more Yu-Gi-Oh! News, deck profiles, and openings. Also, feel free to check out my Discord. The link will be down below in case you guys want to talk about anything Yu-Gi-Oh! Related, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.